Recording in progress.
Just start recording. So
So hi,
thank you
thank
both
you
of you
both
for
of you
coming
for
in
coming in
today.
today.
I want to say
I want to say
congratulations on your new
congratulations on your
baby.
new baby.
Thank you.
I know
I
that.
know that. Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
cute.
Daisy, hi.
Um,
That's why
Um,
we're here. So,
I
I
understand.
yes.
understand.
So thank you
So
for
thank you for
coming. So
coming.
I
So
did
I did
receive
receive
your
your
pre-screening
screening
assessment.
assessment.
I went
I
over
went
it,
over
and
it, and I just
I'm
have.
gonna
I'm
ask
gonna
you
ask
questions
you
as we
question
go
as we
along.
go along.
Sounds
But
good.
But
before we
before we
start, I
start, I
have to
have
go
to
over
go
some
first.
confidential
Confidential
agreement.
agreement.
Okay.
So
So
know
know
that
that
this is
this
a
is a
safe
safe
space.
space.
Anything that
Anything
we
that we
discuss is
discuss
gonna
is
stay
gonna stay
confidential,
confidential.
but there are
But
some
there are some
exceptions. For
exceptions. For
example, if
example,
I
if
feel
I
like
feel
or
like or
know
know
of
of
any
any
abuse, I'm
abuse,
just gonna
I'm
have
just
to
gonna have
report
to
it.
report it.
Either
Either
child
child
abuse
abuse
or
or
dog or
dog
elder
or
abuse,
elder abuse,
and
and
also
also
anything that is
anything that is
court
court
order,
order,
I'm gonna have to
I have to
report it as
report it as
well.
well.
Sounds good.
Um,
Um,
Also,
Also,
since this is
since this is
couple
couple
therapy, the
therapy, the
relationship with the
relationship with the
client, so
client,
both
so
of
both
you are
of
my
you are my
client.
client.
That
Mm-hmm.
means
That
if
means
I meet
I
with
meet with
either one of
either
you
one of you
individually,
individually,
Mm-hmm.
anything that
anything that
affects
affects
the
the
relationship will need
relationship
to
will
be
need to
shared
be
in
shared in
session.
session.
So
Okay.
there's
So
no
there's no
secret
secret
between us.
between us.
And
And
finally,
finally,
anytime
anytime
either
either
of
of
you
you
need to
need to
pause or
pause
step
or
out,
step
that's
out, that's
completely
completely
okay.
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 Again, the goal
Again, the
is
goal
for
is
this
for
to
this
feel
to
like a
feel like a
safe,
safe,
supportive
supportive
space
space
for both
for
of
both
you.
of you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Um,
so, like
so
I
like
say,
I
I went
say, I went
over
over
the
the
paper, and I
paper,
know
and I
that
know that
one of the
one
issues
of the
that you
issues
like
that
to
you like to
discuss today
discuss
is
today is
intimacy.
intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Just had a
Just had a
baby.
baby.
Yep.
So
So
I want to
I
say
want to
that
say that
adjusting to
adjusting to
parenthood
parenthood
is a
is
big
a big
transition,
transition,
and this is
and this
very
is very
common
common
for
for
emotional and
emotional and
physical
physical
intimacy
intimacy
to change
to
during
change
this
during this
season.
season.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Some
couples
couples
notice that
notice that
closeness
closeness
feels
feels
different,
different,
and that's
Right.
and that's
completely
completely
normal. Like I
normal. Like I
said,
said,
it doesn't
it
mean
doesn't
anything
mean anything
wrong with your
wrong with your
relationship.
relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So today
So
we'll
today
talk
we'll
about
talk about
how
how
he's
he's
showing up for
showing
both
up for
of
both
you,
of you,
and make
and
sure
make
you're
sure you're
aligned as
aligned
a couple so
couple
that
so that
small
small
challenges don't
challenges
go
don't
into
go
bigger
into bigger
issues.
issues.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So
So
let's start with
let's
the
start
main
with the main
topic.
topic.
So
So
I already
I
know,
already
but I
know,
want to
but I
ask
want to ask
what brought
what
you
brought
in
you
today
in today
regarding
regarding
intimacy,
intimacy,
and
and
whoever want to
whoever want
start
to
is more
start
than
is more than
welcome.
welcome.
Do you want to start?
You can start.
I think so. For me, it's we're trying to get ahead of this becoming an issue. So, of course, with this is our third baby, and there's a big gap between our last kid, our second
Number
born,
two
and
and the
number
third.
three, right? So we had like a routine. From what I can tell, we had a routine. We had our way of life, and then a new baby. It's like a big transition for us because it feels like we're relearning everything. And like we had a good routine, and now with the baby, of course we're blessed to have him, but it's like we're having to learn now how to juggle and have time for all three kids while still having time for one another. And I would say for me it's probably more difficult for me to have time for him. I would say I think it from what I can tell, it feels like I put his needs almost aside a little bit for the baby. And so, and we talk about these kind of things, but I want to make sure that he knows I'm listening. It's just there isn't enough hours in the day, almost like, so it feels like intimacy is like an afterthought right now, right? Because we're just doing stuff for the kids, for the baby, and we forget about us. And he's, thankfully he's talked about it, and I think that's why we're like, okay, maybe couple therapy will be good, because maybe we can get tools on how to deal with this and how to make sure that this doesn't become an issue, right? So that's kind of that. Like I barely have time for him. He makes it time for me. He tries to
Yes, right.
he tries to start things and initiate. I feel like he's always the one initiating, and I'm always not. I think by the time he initiate, I'm exhausted. I'm over it. So I think that's kind of like why we're here. You want to add anything?
No, you said pretty much everything. But yeah, maybe talk about the exhaustion, because at the end of the day, having three kids is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So when this one goes to bed, it's probably the first to go to bed, and then after the big brothers go to bed too, now it's our time, and we so after the day we can be so tired.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like sometimes we both want to, but by the time we hit the bed, it's you're like, nah, you can you want to initiate everything because
Right.
it won't be as
Yeah.
good as is. You
Right.
would know each other,
'Cause
so
you're
I
exhausted.
don't want to do something like rushy and do a bad thing. I like it to be a certain way. So
Yeah.
it's better to sleep when something like this happen than to try and do something just to be like selfish or something, right? Yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to add to what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be tough. It can be tough sometimes, but we find ways to joke about it, and we know, when it happens, it's always magical, so it's okay.
At least that's working.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you
much
so
for
much
for
for
sharing that.
sharing that.
I do
I
see
do
that
see that you
are
guys
kind
are
of on the
kind of on
same
the
page
same
when it
page when
comes
it
to
comes to
the
the
difficulty of
difficulty of
having
having
intimacy
intimacy
at this
at
time
this
in your
time in
life.
your life.
Right.
And
And
I
I
appreciate that you're
appreciate that you're
working on
working
it,
on it,
even though you
even though
say
you say
it can be
it can be
challenging. I
challenging.
cannot
I
even
cannot even
imagine having
imagine
three
having
kids
three
and
kids and
Mm-hmm.
just
just
having that
having that
routine
routine
change.
change.
Again,
Right.
this is
Again, this is
normal. Like
normal.
as
Like
you
as you
said, you
said,
used
you
to
used
have
to
your
have your
routine and
routine and
everything. Now you
everything.
have a
Now
new
you have a new
kid, so
kid, so
everything has
everything
to
has to
change.
change.
Um,
Right.
so there's
So there's
something I want to
something I
know.
want to know.
That
That can
maybe
you
you share
maybe
one
share one
example
example
of a
of a
recent
recent
moment when
moment when
you
you
guys
guys
felt
felt
disconnected,
disconnected?
Hmm.
or if you
Or
don't
if
have,
you don't,
that's
that's
fine.
fine.
You
You
don't
don't
think
Disconnected.
you
think
had
you had
when you
when you
felt
felt
disconnected.
disconnected.
Like on intimacy level or just disconnected in general?
Just disconnected in
Disconnected
general
In general.
General.
because of
because of
everything that is
everything that
going
is going
on,
on,
kids and
kids and
change of
change of
routine.
routine.
At any
At
time,
any
we
time,
feel
we felt
like
like
we're
we're
just
just
not as
not
close
as
as
close
we
as
used
we
to.
used to.
I think,
Or you don't
yeah,
We
I
have
don't
think,
that.
have that.
right.
You
I
don't
think
do it.
the one thing that works, so at least that I've noticed, is there are times where I would say I feel like we were not as connected as we were. But the thing is, we almost check in every day, like when we go to bed, and that's when either I'll tell him, "Hey, I miss you," or and we probably spend the whole day together. But he might have instances where he's telling me, "Hey, I miss you," and that's when for me, I realized, okay, we're spending all these time together, but we're not really spending time together. We're spending time in, the presence of one another. Like we're probably doing things for the kids, we're cooking, we're cleaning, we're doing stuff, but we're not spending time together. And so every night when we go to bed, we do a little check-in, and either if I feel like I saw him but I didn't feel that he was present, or he will feel like I wasn't as present, he will tell me, I miss you, and I'll tell him I miss you too. I think it's what helps to probably feel reconnected is the understanding that we're on the same page. Like there's no guilt almost. It's like, hey, I miss you. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I get it. Today was rough, or we had a lot of stuff. So I miss you too. And then I think that kind of like resets that. So we don't have that time to be as disconnected because we just do small check-ins. It's not, I mean, it doesn't fix everything, but I think in the moment, it makes me at least feel like, hey, we, this is temporary, almost like we need to work on getting back to what we were before the baby kind of situation. So
Okay. So as I
So as
listen
I
to
listen
you,
to
I
you, I
do see
do
that
see
you
that
guys
you
are
guys are
working on
working on
fixing
fixing
the
the
issue.
issue.
yeah,
Like I
Like
say,
I
I feel
say, I
like
feel like
you're
you're
putting too
putting
much
too
pressure
much
on
pressure on
yourself.
yourself.
I think
I think
you both
you
need to
both need
give
to
each
give
other
each other
grace
grace
because
because this is
indeed
indeed a
different
different
way
yeah,
of
way
life,
of
I
life,
guess,
I guess,
because you now
because
you have a
now
new
you have a
baby,
new baby,
everything has
everything
to
has to
change.
change.
And
yeah,
I
And
do
I do
appreciate that you're
appreciate that
doing
you're
the
doing
small
small
part, like
part,
checking on
like
each
checking on each
other,
other,
even
even
spending time
spending time
together. I
together.
know
I
it's
know
not
it's
mm-hmm,
not, it's
mostly
mostly
related to
related to
stuff,
stuff,
but
but
again,
right,
again, you
still
feel
together,
together,
right,
being
being
conscious of the
conscious
fact
of the
that you have
fact
to
that you have to
check on each
check on
other,
each
which is
other, which
really
is
great.
really
right,
great.
Um,
right,
One thing
Again,
that I want
Again,
to add.
yeah,
even with
even with
challenges,
challenges,
every
every
couple has
couple has
strength.
mm-hmm,
strength.
So
So
I
I
know
know
you
you
did
did
mention some of
mention
the
some of
things
the
that you
things that
do, like
you do,
checking
like
on each
checking on each
other.
other.
mm-hmm,
But
But
in your own
in your
word,
own word,
which you can
which you
put
can
your
put
input
your
in,
input in.
what's been
What's been
working
working
well
well
for you as a
as a
partner,
partner,
especially
especially
during
during
this
this
season?
I think you wanted to add something. You can add what you wanted to add.
But what before I add it, what was the question? What's
So,
the
What's working well?
yeah, what's
Yeah,
been
what's been
working? I know
working?
with
I know with
all the
all the
challenges,
challenges,
everything going
everything
on,
going on.
can you
Can you
say
say
one thing
one thing
that's
that's
been
been
working for
working
you,
for
that's
you, that's
holding you
holding you
guys
guys
together as a
together as a
couple and
couple and
keeping that
keeping that
connection
connection
going?
going?
So, I mean, I think what I'm gonna say is gonna answer this as well. We have a lot of non-verbal communication, her and I. So we can just looking at each other at a certain moment, we know if something is good or bad. And I know she's been dealing with the how they say the after baby thing, the postpartum.
Yeah.
And she told me she was vocal about it. She told me, if sometimes she's a little off, it's because of all these things. So now she's in a better place. But back then, when I saw her in a certain, because I know looking at her face, I can tell if she's going through rough times or whatever. So I would check in and be like, oh, are you okay? And me, one other thing that helps is I'm really touchy. I'm somebody who's gonna touch her all the time, and the way she's gonna react to me touching her will tell me sometimes if she's okay or if she doesn't want to be touched or whatever. So that's for one way for me to check. That's me. I'm just touchy. She's not as touchy, but I am.
That's his
So
love language.
That's my
Physical
love language,
touch.
physical touch. So that's one thing for me to know. Oh, maybe now she's good, or no, maybe I should let her be. And these are small things that help us understand the momentum, because I feel like it's about momentum. Sometimes you look at me because I lost my mom a couple years ago. Sometimes I can be a little sad, but in looking at me, since she knows my face and we have that non-verbal thing, she would also check me at that specific time, and it's a momentum. We just learned how to read momentums, and I think that's what works for us. And if you have to answer that question, besides the kids being healthy, it's also the way we communicate that help understand all the momentum to keep the relationship healthy.
Yeah.
So that'll gonna be my answer. So first, the kids are okay. We able to still being parent to them depending on their needs. That's first, and then between each other, we know how to communicate even with no words, and this help us keep the thing moving. Yes, that's my answer.
Okay. Thank you
Thank you for that.
Listening
to both of
I
you,
do
I do
hear
hear
a lot of
teamwork,
understanding.
That's the word.
That's the
Teamwork.
word.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
It's teamwork. It's sometimes like I tell him, okay, sorry. This is why we're doing therapy.
I know.
I know it's
I
hard, but I know
challenging,
challenging, but it is
Sorry.
to get better.
Right, it's that. It's
Okay.
teamwork. I think you summarize everything, because there are times where I'm like, hey, I'm at a 20% today. 20% is all I can give. And so you're gonna have to cover the 80%. There are days where I'm like, I know he's probably at his limit, so then I feel like I have to make up for that difference with the kids and everything. So it's teamwork, really. And I think that's also why we've never done therapy, but we're like, hey, maybe this will be a good time. Like, even though we feel like we have a good understanding of each other, it wouldn't hurt to talk to a professional and see if there are any other tools that we can use to make sure that this doesn't become an issue. Yes, we're communicating, but at the end of the day, the need is still there, right? Like the fact that we're not as intimate as we were. I want to make sure it doesn't become an issue in the sense where he feels like he's neglected, or that I feel like I'm neglected, right? Even though we're still a team, we still need to make sure that we're checking and that everyone's need is met. But I understand what you say, like to not put too much pressure. I think we're just trying to make sure that we are heading in the right direction, and if there are other things that we need to be doing, to have someone to tell us those things that we can look into and see how it can help us like better manage this time period that we're in, because we know that it's temporary, it's not going to be forever, but if there are things that could help, we definitely wanted to look into those.
Definitely. And those are strengths like teamwork and commitment. Those are the strengths that are going to help you maintain
maintain
and stay during this
during this
season of your life. The next
The
question
next question
actually was gonna be
your
fears or worries,
worry,
right?
your
Your partner, you want your partner to understand, but you did answer that question. So what I'm
So what
gonna
I'm
do
gonna
is
do
because
is
we're
because we're
actually getting
actually
close
getting
to the
close
end
to
of
the
the
end of the
session,
session.
um, I'm just
I'm just
gonna
gonna
try to
try
wrap
to
it
wrap
up.
it up.
Okay.
Let
Let
me
me
ask you
ask you
something
something
before
Okay.
we
before we
wrap
wrap
it
it up.
up. Because this is
Because this is
almost the end
almost
of
the
the
end of the
session. Is
session.
there
Is there
anything
anything
else you
else you
guys would
guys
like
would
to
like to
discuss maybe
pass
for the
maybe
next
for the next
session, or you
session,
want
or
us
you want
to
us to
continue
continue
focusing on
focusing on
intimacy and
intimacy
how
and
we
how
can,
we can,
like you
like
said,
you said,
improve this
improve
or
this or
not letting
not
it get
letting
out of
it out of
control,
control,
Right.
or being
or being
disconnected.
disconnected.
Right. B, is there anything else you want to discuss or bring into therapy? Or do you want to stay on this theme? Like, are there any other issues?
Well,
He's hungry.
I'll have to think about it. Not,
Okay,
not
yeah,
right
if you
now.
can't
I
think
don't
of
see
anything right
anything.
now, that's
That's
fine.
fine.
Yeah, I don't see anything, but yeah, let me think and
Okay,
then
that's
Okay,
I'll
okay.
let
that's
So
you
okay.
yeah,
So
we
know.
can
yeah, we can
definitely stay
definitely
and
stay
focus
and
on
focus
this.
on this.
But
So, but
before
before
we
we
finish,
finish,
I'm
I'm
just
just
gonna
gonna
ask you to do
ask you to
some
do
simple
simple
exercise
exercise
at
at
home.
home.
So
Okay.
just
So
spend
just spend
maybe
maybe
5 and 10
five and
minutes
10 minutes
connecting each
connecting
day.
each day.
Okay.
Because
Because
sometimes the
sometimes the
problem is we
problem is
feel
we
like we
feel
have
like
to
we have
spend a
to
lot
spend
of
a lot
time,
of
but
time, but
even
even
5 minutes,
5 minutes,
just
just
connecting,
connecting,
share one
share one
feeling you
feeling
need
you
or
need, a
moment of
moment of
gratitude
gratitude
with each
with
Mm-hmm.
each
other.
other.
And also
And also
focus on
focus on
listening and
listening and
understanding
understanding
and not
and not
problem
problem
solving.
solving
Because
because
right, that's
that's
sometimes
Right.
the
sometimes
mistake
the
we
mistake
make.
we make.
We just
We
want
Right.
to
just want to
solve
solve
everything,
everything,
especially
especially
mom.
Right.
mom.
But
But
then
Exactly.
again,
again,
just take a
just take
step
a
back
step
and just
back and just
listen to your
listen to your
partner.
partner.
Mm-hmm.
Again, so
Again,
these
so
are
these
small
are small
daily
daily
practices, but it
practices,
will
but it will
help you stay
help you stay
aligned
aligned
and
Mm-hmm.
and
strengthen your
strengthen your
intimacy.
intimacy.
Right.
So we'll build
So
on
we'll build
this
on
in our
this in
next
our
section
next section
using the
using the
listen and
listen and
repeat
repeat
exercise.
exercise.
Okay.
Again, I want to
Again, I
thank
want
you
to
all
thank
for
you all
your
for your
openness
openness
today.
today.
Thank
Intimacy
Intimacy
you.
after a
after a
baby is
baby is
definitely a
definitely a
journey, and by
journey. By
talking about
talking
it
about it
intentionally,
intentionally,
you're
Mm-hmm.
already
you're already
taking a
taking a
positive step
positive step
forward.
forward.
So
Mm-hmm.
thank
So
you
thank
for
you
joining
for
me
joining
today,
me
and I'll
today,
see
and I'll
you
see you
our
Yeah.
next
our
session.
next.
Thank you for
Thank
creating this
you.
Thank
space for
you.
us. We really appreciated that.
Hmm.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Looking forward to the next session.
Yes.
Definitely.